Welcome to Connect to Joy. Your host, Carol DeChaine, is an intuitive spiritual guide for practical matters and marconic multidimensional energy practitioner. Her quest is to help you realize new possibilities, discover and release what holds you back, and enable you to manifest an inspired life filled with joy. Join us on this journey of transformation. Now, here's your host, Carol DeChaine.
Welcome, beautiful spirits. Do you feel like you want to make a difference, but you have no idea how to go about it? Or maybe you seem to be sitting back while the craziness is going on around you and you feel like you should be doing more. Or maybe you believe or know some truth about what's happening in the world and you want to wake everyone up who doesn't believe like you do. There's so much divisiveness in what appears to be taking sides on different issues in the world. What's truth and what's not? And what can you do? What if I said you don't have to do anything physically or verbally? You have a choice, and you don't have to feel guilty about whatever choice you make. Let me ask you, how do you feel? Do you feel like a warrior that needs to get out in the world and make a difference? Well, then really consider what you want to do and go out and do it. Don't just feel guilty because you're sitting back and not, if that feels like your purpose. But if that doesn't feel like who you are, perhaps you are someone different. Whether you consider yourself a light worker or not, you may feel separate and apart from the negativity or what's happening in the world. Or you might get sucked into the negativity and fear on a regular basis, which happens to a number of my friends. Then you aren't a warrior, and if you want to make a difference or just find what brings you the most peace so you can be out there with other people, this may and really should work for you. So today, I'm going to talk about why just shining your light and holding space can be the best thing you can do. What shining your light and holding space feels like. The 4 steps to be able to do it with a person or a situation. And the slightly different 5 steps to be able to do it with a planet. 2 short guided meditations. 1 to learn to stay in your power when you face a specific person, and 1 for the planet. And lastly, 9 ways to stay in your light. So, what is shining your light or holding space? I call it holding space when you're in a bad situation or with a negative person, and you simply shine your light into the situation, being you at your best, holding on to the good and higher vibration that you may be at, and not letting the other person bring you down. What do I mean by that? Well, it's so easy to be sucked into the energy of those around you. For example, if you walk into a room and everyone's laughing, you're very likely to start laughing even though you don't know what's going on. You'll feel lighter, and you'll pretty much forget anything negative you brought into the room with you, even if it's only for a moment. At the very least, you'll smile and indulgently look around at everybody else laughing, wondering what they're doing, but kind of enjoying it. But if you walk into a room and see everyone crying, and someone telling a story of abuse or tragedy or something sad that's happened, you'll feel that energy in the room as well. It's a heavier energy, and you'll get pulled down by it, and you may even start crying just walking into a room. But what if you could walk into the room feeling good and hold the people crying in kind of metaphorical arms of love with compassion and not get dragged into the negative, overwhelming feeling they may be sharing at that time? And by doing that, you really help all those around you to feel better. You don't really expend that much energy doing that. You simply are holding your light where you need to. I'm not going to make you wait. I'm going to jump right into the 4 steps you need to take to be able to do this with a specific person or situation. And then a little later, I'll do it with the planet. So first, here we go. You need to be able to drop anything negative you may be feeling, and I just refer to it as negative, but the heavier energies, like anger, or worry, or fear, or guilt, you know what I mean, the stuff that feels heavier, and switch into a lighter, more loving place at a moment's notice if something happens or you run into somebody who's down, or a situation that feels off. Because sometimes the situation comes up, well, abruptly, or we get a call that blindsides us with negativity. A friend may be fearful or worried about something, or a situation with our child or spouse comes up that throws us off. So how do you do that? Well, practice, but first you stop everything. Don't allow a negative reaction to take over if you're fearful about the situation or the person bombards you with this heavier energy of things they're fearful about. Immediately raise your vibration. And again, what I mean, breathe. Take in gratitude or peace or joy or whatever makes you feel like you are a powerful spiritual being. Whatever you use, if you meditate or pray, use that. Perhaps you need to picture trees or a baby laughing or something else that makes you feel good so that your vibration will shift up. And allow yourself to be filled with that peace, that joy, that appreciation or gratitude or love. And then you can face the person or the situation with a raised vibration. So you start out at a higher place than you were normally when you run into the person or the situation. Sometimes you're already in a good spot, but you may not be prepared. Because the next step is it's possible. If you need it, you may not be someone who needs it, but sometimes you do, and especially sometimes you do around specific people or specific situations. You want to shield yourself from the energy of that person or situation. And like I said, you may not need to do this, but many times we do, depending on who we're coming across, who needs us. So use whatever works for you. Visualize an energy shield, a force field, a bubble, whatever may work for you. Try different things if one feels like you're using negative energy to put it out there. So don't put the shield up because you're fearful the person will do it. Just do it from a neutral place so that you know you're going to stay in your own bubble or your own energy space. A force field may seem a little too forceful, so maybe that's not a good way to think about it. You don't want to deflect someone. You want to feel safe in your own space and allow them to be able to still vent or say whatever they need to do. So that's the first two steps. The third step is just be in the present moment. Really be there for that person. Don't wander off and worry of what you're hearing or thinking about. Maybe something else, you're totally disconnected from what's happening. People feel that. They feel if you're not really in the moment. If you've ever been lucky enough to have someone pay attention to you fully, completely, you're going to know what I mean. I've had a few people in my life where they give you that gift of phone rings, they don't even reach for it, or they reach for it to silence it without even looking at it. They're in your presence. You feel like you're the only person that they're paying attention to, that you're super important to them, and that is a gift to give someone. And people who are upset tend to run down after a while if you appreciate them, if you give them that gift of love in that present moment. And they really feel better around you because you're a raised vibration and you're just shining your light and allowing them to be who they are. And you want to make sure, fourth, to stay in that higher vibration and beam. You have to actually beam your light at them. You just will be in your space, in that moment where who you are, and that light and that higher vibration will make them feel especially good. You may feel appreciation or love for that person while they're talking, and just stay there. It's amazing how people lose their focus and they sort of stop talking when you appreciate them. They sort of sputter and stop after a few sentences most of the time. People that are really wound up may take a little longer, but if you beam that appreciation and love at them, or not even beaming, like I said before, it could just be holding your own light and beaming from yourself because you're just in that light, if that makes sense. You'll see that they are more likely to shift. And at the very least, you won't get sucked into the negativity and the heavier density of what they're going for. And at best, just shining your light and holding space for them to go through whatever they need to go through will shift them as well. You won't fix anything for them, but they may shift and adjust and come to some realizations all by themselves of how they can heal the situation that they're complaining about, or they will at least feel comfort. Their vibration will automatically entrain to yours and they'll raise up a bit and they'll get calmer and more relaxed and they'll go, oh, okay, never mind. They may even forget what they were talking about they might stutter and go, let's talk about something else now. Or something odd may happen. Don't be surprised. So those 4 steps, again, to be able to shine your light and be holding space for a specific person or a situation is first, drop anything that you're holding that's negative or heavier density, the spheres, those sorts of things, by breathing and not reacting to what's happening around you. You just take that moment and you raise your vibration so that you can be in that gratitude, that peace, that joy. And then you put up a shield if you feel it's important, or hold up a force field or a bubble around you so that you don't deflect the person from you, but you just hold yourself in your own highest vibration. And third, to be in the present, to really pay attention to that person. Don't judge them. Let them be who they are. And fourth is to stay in that higher vibration that you're holding on to and beaming your light or holding the light, however you want to look at it, and allowing them to shift if they are ready to shift. And now I'd like to take you on that first guided meditation. It's not going to be very long, but I want you to be able to practice doing this because this one is really fun to do. It's something that the first time you hold space for someone and you just are you in this higher vibrational space and somebody is complaining and talking and being really wound up, if you stay there and the first time they sputter or they stop talking about it and they go, oh, wait a minute, and they come up with their own solution without you having to say anything usually, you know that you are helping someone by not having to do anything except being you, being the beautiful you that you are. And you want to make sure that you stay in as high a vibration and space as you can reach at that time. There's no judgment on how far up you can get, but you just want to make sure you're not judging the other person. You're not being angry or fearful or anything for them, because then you're lowering your vibration and getting into the heavier density, and you're just in there with them. And that may help in some instances, but really most of the time, you want to stay in the higher vibration and help them to shift themselves and shift out of where they're at. So if you're comfortable, and you can, by all means, close your eyes, and let's go ahead and do this little guided meditation. So let's just breathe into it. Get comfortable. Allow your body to relax. And breathe again at your own speed, as deep as you can. Letting out all of the worries and the cares and the concerns you may have. Any judgments about yourself or anything else that might be there that will get in your way of being fully present. And breathe one more time. And allow a person to come to mind who you know always seems to have a problem. Maybe it's the one that you roll your eyes when you see their name on your caller ID on your phone. So choose one person. Now imagine taking a moment, either before you answer or right when you say hello and they start talking. Taking that moment to breathe in love and breathe out your worries of the day. Breathe in healing light, bathing you, and breathe out frustration or annoyance that person is calling and maybe you think will talk for an hour or two. And then feel your light shining brighter, enveloping you. And feel that light or that love, that healing light, whatever it is that you feel the strongest, spilling out into your aura and protecting you from that negativity and that lower vibrational emotion that may be kind of spilling over onto you. And next, imagine the person spilling out all the problems they normally do and just telling you everything. And maybe even on a bigger level than they normally do. So maybe you're seeing them get really upset and really getting angry or frustrated or whatever this person normally does, but on an even bigger level than they normally do. And see yourself, instead of getting tight or tense, holding your light, not letting their emotions batter at you, but just feeling yourself, staying neutral, staying peaceful, loving them for wherever they're going through. Feel like you're holding space for them to be who they need to be without judgment. Just imagine yourself feeling peaceful and serene while you really listen to what they have to say. And feel gratitude to yourself and your higher self, to Christ, to God, to Buddha, to whoever or whatever you feel comfortable thinking about, to be able to find that peace and be in that place. And really let that feeling of holding your light and having the love and the peace in you lock in place so you know what this feels like. And take a moment and breathe it in. Breathe in that higher vibrational feeling, that love, that joy, whatever it may be, that's really holding you, that's really allowing you to be in that space that you need to be in to hold that space for the other person. And when you really feel that feeling locked in, come on back into the present moment. And I want you to be more and more aware, breathing in that peace and knowing that higher vibrational feeling. And now I want you to say to yourself, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake. So we close down that subconscious mind and you can come back in fully present again. I hope first that you felt that space. So you need to be familiar with it so you can find it when you need to. And listen again to the meditation if you want to practice getting into the space. And then practice with whoever calls you or whatever situation shows up. You never know. You might even find yourself happy the person calls so you can practice. And if it doesn't work and you find yourself getting sucked into the negativity, be gentle on yourself. At some point, you will find that it gets easier. Do not judge yourself, let alone the other person, for falling out of the light, for falling off the higher vibrational pedestal, whatever you want to call it, realizing that we all need practice. There's always somebody that's going to yank us down to their level. The entrainment can go both ways. You can help them raise up, and you can get yanked down to their level if you let yourself do that. Because sometimes we empathize so much with people. We want to be there for them, but we then open our heart in a different way on a human level, and we want to connect in there, which is what makes it so difficult sometimes, because we're just in that human experience with them instead of being more neutral. And it doesn't mean you don't care. It just means you care so much that you're able to hold that loving space for them so they can find their own way out of whatever they're experiencing. Next thing I want to look at is holding space for the planet. It's similar, but it's a little different, and there are 5 steps instead of 4. There is so much going on in the world. First, when you see something happening on social media, the regular news, the world, people talking around you, and anything that seems to spark you or make you anxious, take that moment and again, raise your vibration, whether that means pulling in peace or joy or love or whatever that is. Let go of that anxiety the minute you're aware of it and stop and breathe and pull in from a higher spiritual plane that higher vibrational space. And the second thing to do is be aware that you may find there's a whole lot more anxiety, fear, or worry that comes up because the things out in the world may impact you a whole lot more than a single person or situation. But also, you have the whole consciousness of the planet reacting. And if you're an empath or connected to the axis-tonal lines of the planet, you're going to feel everyone else's anxiety and fear in waves coming at you. You're going to be pulled in numerous directions, usually left and right and wrong, what people see. But that's why this one can be harder to hold for people, and you might get sucked in easier than what you have in the past. You may need more layers of protection, that bubble or that energy shield. But again, Don't create that protection out of fear. Fear that it will get you, that lower energy, that fear that's out in the world will get you. Do it because you are layering the protection with more love and light and not with anxiety. Connect higher if you need to during this time, because sometimes you want to feel even more flooding of light and spirit coming into you to help you hold that higher vibration when it has to do with an even bigger anxiety level if you're connecting to the planetary feeling. And the third thing is you don't have to fix the planet. Know this in your heart. You don't have to go out and fix the planet or go change people's minds. If you feel this is your mission, then go for it. Somebody's got to be the warrior out in the planet as well. But if it isn't, this can be a big hurdle to get over. You might feel like you should fix the planet, change people's minds, but maybe you don't know what to do or how to do it because you see your truth very clearly, but other people are showing you the exact opposite of what you think is truth. Try holding the space and releasing any guilt you may feel that you aren't doing more. And that one's super important. It's not as big of a deal with another person because you can just go into the judgment-free zone and not feel like you have to fix them usually. But you might want to insert this if you are someone who needs to fix people all the time. Also, you're dealing with a person. Now, with the planet, the fourth thing is to realize that the Earth is being bombarded with cosmic radiation and it's going through its own shift right now. And people are reacting to the chaos that's happening because of that. Make the choice not to step into the chaos. You can make that choice, but you have to do it consciously. And fifth and lastly, hold the space for the planetary shift. And let me explain a little bit of what I mean by that. So there's a couple of sub things on this one. Keep your vibration high by connecting as high as you can, as I said, to the universal source, to God, your higher self, or whatever you call your connection. And let that peace, joy, love, gratitude, whatever you want to do, appreciation, flood into you like step one. But while you're holding space, let go of judgment of what's happening with people, with the planet, with worry, with fear, all of that stuff. Let go of that judgment. And the next thing is don't take sides and don't fight in whatever disputes you see out in the world, in Facebook, on wherever you're at. Don't be concerned with the politics, the COVID, the vaccines, all those things you think may be happening. Step into that neutral place. Don't take sides. It'll take you right out of that light that you're shining, right out of that higher vibrational space. And the next piece of this puzzle is to let go, as I kind of mentioned, of any fear of what's happening and how it may impact you or the world around you, or the world in general. Let go of that fear, not only judgment, but fear as well. And as I said previously, in this zone that you're in, you won't feel the need to change or fix anything. You'll be in that neutral, loving space, and you'll be able to hold the space for people as humanity, rather than individual people maybe, and the world, and allow Mother Earth to make the shifts she needs to make. Make sure that you allow that peace to flood into you so you can simply allow the world and the people to follow their truths and make their changes as they need to follow their path during this time. And you need to follow yours. So if you're a warrior, go out and do something. But if you feel the need, this disconnect, and you know you aren't supposed to get involved, hold that space. Feel that neutrality, because that's the only way you're going to be able to be part of the world and not feel ripped apart by it. And now we're going to get into that second guided meditation because I want you to be able to hold the space for the planet as well if that is what you want to do. Again, if you can close your eyes or come back later to this one, if you can't do it now, breathe again. I'm going to count you down this time. 5, letting go of anything that you're still holding on to that you're worried about. 4, releasing tension and worry. 3, releasing any fear that may be in your cells about what's happening in the world right now and allowing that peace, that joy, that love, whatever it is that fills you up and makes you feel lighter, allow that into your being. And 2, feel yourself raising up and reaching for that higher connection. And 1, connecting to that source, whatever it is that you connect to. Connect as high or higher than you ever have before, allowing yourself to feel completely connected to your source. And allow the light and the love and the peace that you should be feeling from that highest source raining down and flooding into your body while you're still connected as high as you can. Feel it going through your body and going out into your aura. And while you're up and connected higher, look down and see the connection to your body through this love, through this light, through this cord that you're still connected, and allow that bubbling feeling of this healing light, this love, this peace. When it goes out into your aura, see it create a protective bubble or shield around you so that it's part of your being and it's just love and light vibrating at that level. And feel that peace and love throughout you, not only in your higher space, but down through your entire body that you can still feel, and out into the world, out into the connection and that shield you have. And see Earth below you, and whatever that's going on that has triggered you in the past, see what that is from this peaceful place. And allow yourself to stay in your light and simply shine. Shine it out, holding space for the planet. Allow it to be where it needs to be, without judgment, without worry, without fear, simply in peace, totally neutral, allowing yourself to be where you are, and the planet and the other people, the humanity people, to be where it needs to be. And lock in that feeling. Lock in the feeling to allow yourself to stay in that light and recognize it the next time that you get triggered, or perhaps all the time, if you want to shine your light all the time from a higher vibrational space. Again, lock in that feeling. Feel it throughout you, your spirit, your emotions, your intelligence, your body physically, as well as your energetic body, shimmering out into your aura and beyond. And now, when you're ready, we'll have you come back into the room. Continue to breathe, and I'll count you back into the room. 1, allowing yourself to feel ready to come back, still connected to this higher vibrational space. 2, feeling your mental and your spirit connecting a little more to your body, perhaps feeling like while you're still connected, more of your intelligence and your awareness is being drawn into your body. 3, continuing to feel that higher vibrational space, that love, that light, that's part of who you are. That is all of who you are. 4, being aware of your fingers and toes and knowing that your body is safe, it is filled with light, and it is able to traverse the world and the people in it easier because you will be able to hold your light. And 5, fully in your body while you're still connected to Source. Wide awake, wide awake, wide awake. We want to close down your subconscious mind and have you be fully present, as I said the last time. So whenever you feel triggered by social media or whatever's going on in the world, lock that feeling in again. Take that moment to breathe, to feel it. And the more you practice it, the quicker you can do it. It'll be much faster. And note to yourself that you don't have to react with judgment, fear, or worry, and that you do not have to fix anything. Simply take that moment, shift into that higher vibration. Put up that bubble of peace or love or shield or whatever you want to think of, and stand in the truth and in your light that you're helping the world by simply being in that place, by holding space and being in your own light. Now that we've done all that, and you know how to do this by not only dealing with a person, but also by the planet, lastly, I want to look at 9 ways that you can stay in your light. Just different ideas that I have that may help you, and they may help you, they may not, but listen to them and see if they ring truth as something that maybe you can use, or maybe you can use numerous of these to help you stay in your space and in your light. The first one is if you feel anger or anxiety, worry, fear, any of those lower vibrational emotions that feel really heavy, if they sneak up on you, be aware that you can shift that and then take a moment to do that. But sometimes we don't realize we're there until we're in there a little bit. And then you go, wait a minute. And sometimes you just need to let it go. You need to go, I need to be in the space for just a minute before I shift it. And that's absolutely okay. Don't judge yourself on that. But when you're ready, be aware is the first thing. And then take the moments to shift if you can and when you can. The second thing is if people come at you with what you consider negative emotions, be grateful that you have a chance to practice so that you can stay in your light instead of slipping into that annoyance or frustration or whatever normally happens when they kind of approach you. Just being grateful for the practice is going to help you shift into the higher vibrational space. So that's kind of a sneaky way of getting up into the higher vibrational, more connectedness that you might need. Also, of course, number 3, you can practice meditation on a daily basis. And this will help you stay in a higher vibrational space. But no, you don't have to sit in the quiet and om. But you can, and many people do. But you might choose to make a meditation out of a walk, sitting in nature, or drinking it in, or any repetitive task where you can focus on your breath. I mean, even doing dishes can work for doing that, or emptying the dishwasher, vacuuming, dusting, anything you hate to do, you can make a walking meditation, especially if you count your breaths, or you just take a breath each time and be more aware and fully present with each thing you're doing, and watch and feel that connection while you're doing it. Practicing meditation can be interesting. For me, I have trouble just sitting in one place because I tend to nod off or think about things I'm supposed to do or just not be fully present as I want to be. It works sometimes, but not all the time. So doing the other, sometimes just sitting here looking at the trees outside my balcony is enough to make me go, oh, okay, and to get in a really good place. So do what works best for you. The fourth thing is if you find specific fears or worries pull you out of your light, just work on them. You can do it alone, but be aware of what they are. And then you can go, yay, I figured it out. This particular fear is that when this thing comes up in the world, it's going to impact me and maybe it'll steal all my money from me. I won't have anything left to retire on. Or, that's one of the things that is out there. There's also the vaccine will be really bad for me. It'll take me out of my space. It's RNA. You shouldn't screw around with DNA. Or it could be the opposite. If you have that fear about getting COVID and why isn't everybody else getting the vaccine, that's the only way you think it'll work. Whatever it is, realize that those fears, what is the basic fear behind it? What is the basic worry? Because when you figure it out, you can work on that. And you can do it alone. Like I said, we all know, in quotes, that we can do it. We know that we can make our own changes. But sometimes we don't seem to get anywhere, and we don't necessarily even make it a priority to shift and change things we actually want to shift and change. If you find what fear is holding you back, if you feel like you can't do it alone after you tried for a while, talk to a spiritual advisor like a rabbi or a minister, or you can hire a therapist or a life coach that can help you release some of these things, and they can hold you accountable for whatever you say you're going to do, because they don't have judgment on you, or at least they shouldn't. If they do, and they tell you, go to somebody else because they're not the right person for you. But they can help you have accountability. If you say you're going to do something or what you're going to do, they can help you shift through it. And sometimes, some things are really worth paying for. You know in your life what's worth paying for: food, shelter. But there's other things, like for me, it's a good housekeeper and a good masseuse. Those are the extraneous things that are priorities for me that I try to make happen because they make me feel good. It's like pampering myself. So, what is it that makes you feel good? That's actually the fifth thing. Find things to do that you find joy in and do them more often. Raising your vibration that way seems kind of artificial maybe, but it's getting you in the habit of having fun and feeling the feelings that you need to stay in your light with. So you want to have that joy and that love and that light. And if you don't connect spiritually as well as you think you should, have some fun. Do something else. Play with puppies. Go hang out with babies. Do whatever it is that gives you joy. Whether it's artificial or not, the way you get there to raise your vibration, because it's an outer way of doing it instead of an inner way of doing it, it doesn't really matter. If you feel a deep joy by doing something, it can work just as well. But if you can connect into that well of spirit directly without having to go to somebody else or think of a puppy or something, that's even stronger for you. But start wherever you need to and do it more often so that you can find that joy easier if that's what you need to do. Another way you can do this is to choose to have at least a few people in your life that make you feel lighter, that seem to have that higher vibration, that don't complain all the time, don't whine all the time, are helpful. You know, those people that you can depend on, the friend of friends that hopefully you have because you feel they won't let you down. They don't pull you down. And you may need to let go of a few that don't resonate with you after a while. If you get into this higher vibrational space and you go, this person drags me down, and no matter what I do, I can't stay neutral. If they're not someone that's in your life 100% of the time, like your spouse, which you can also, of course, divorce, you want to be able to say, okay, this person is not good for me anymore. I can hold space, I can be with them, but I feel too uncomfortable. It's too dissonant for me to be with them. It's like chords on an organ or piano where you play it and you're going, oh, there's extra notes in there and those just don't sound good. Or there's notes that are played in a harmony and you're going, this is actually not harmonious. It's bad. So you want to be aware when somebody's energy is that far off from yours as you start raising your vibration. But if you have at least a few people in your life that make you feel lighter, then it'll be easier to stay in your light because you can call on them when you need to. Their vibration will be a little higher generally, unless they're going through something, so that you can contact them if you need it. The seventh thing is to have some energy work done if you feel your vibration feels low. The best one that I found is marconics because it's a multidimensional energy, which, okay, full disclosure, I am a practitioner of. I'm a teacher. What it does is it raises your vibration with each session. So you start releasing some of this karmic debris stuff. So sometimes it's always, in my case and my clients' cases, easier to raise your vibration because you're releasing stuff. So even while you're going through the releasing and you're going through stuff, it feels like you're able to hold your space a little higher, your vibration, hold the light in you. It feels brighter and it feels easier to connect. And that's why I specifically always recommend marconics. The other ones can be lovely energies, but this one does shift your vibration and stays with you after you've done with it. Another thing that you can do is find a group or a church to belong to that's of a higher vibrational kind of people, the congregation or the people there. You feel like they feel really good to you. That way you'll be able to hold your space together for the planet and for each other. So it's not just you holding your own space and you're holding your own light, just you. You may be able to combine your light with others and feel really powerful in the way you hold the space for the planet, in the way you hold the space for maybe when somebody's going through a hard time, you can help each other as well. The last thing that you can do, it's sort of fun. You set a timer or an alarm every day or multiple times every day so that you can take a breath and simply be for a few moments. You might not be able to do this when you're working, like alarm, okay, everybody stop talking to me. I need 5 minutes or I need 30 seconds. Whatever it may be, maybe you always do it when you are in the shower or when you're at a specific stoplight, when you're on your way somewhere. But whatever you're doing to hold that light at that moment, let the hubbub of the day die down and stop doing anything. Simply be you in that light. connect for a moment, breathe through it, and you'll shift your whole day. So if you can practice doing that, you can do it numerous times a day. That's why I say set an alarm or something. That can be very cool. So again, the 9 different ways that you can stay in your light is if you feel anger, anxiety, or any lower vibrational emotion, be aware of it as soon as you can and shift it as soon as you can, because you may need a few moments to work your way through it. The second thing is if people come at you, be grateful that you have a chance to practice so that the normal reaction you have won't come into play. You won't immediately drop your vibration and go, here they are again. You'll feel gratitude, which will help you buoy up instead of fall down. The third thing is that you can practice meditation. That repetitive connection can really help you get into the higher connection easier. The fourth thing is if you have specific fears or worries that you become aware of that are holding you back from being able to shine your light and stay in that neutral space, figure out what they are, then work on them by yourself, with someone else, pay somebody, whatever works for you. You'd be surprised if they're not of long standing and you want to dig through it. That would be a therapist. But you'd be surprised how well life coaches can actually get you back on track and get you moving, even with some longer term things that you've been dealing with. And the next thing, find things you can do that will bring you joy if you have trouble connecting to a higher vibration, and do them. But remember what that feels like and then rehook into that feeling. You might be able to do it straight into a connection, but if you can't go straight into a spiritual connection, this is some way that you can do it as well. The sixth thing is to choose to have at least a few friends in your life that make you feel lighter. And if you need to let go of some of the older ones or some of the ones that pull you down, if you don't feel that you can move beyond that. Try it. Be grateful for them and work with them to be able to stay in your light and shine it and see how you feel. And if no matter what you do, they yank you down, make you feel exhausted, then either you just need to practice more staying in your light and shining your light, or you need to release them and let them be with other people so they can stay where they are, because they may not feel that comfortable in the higher vibrational space that you're doing as well. And the next one is to have some energy work done if your vibration feels low, and I did recommend marconics. The next one is to find a group or a church to belong to that feels like it's of higher vibrational people. People that when you look at, you feel like they're helping you. They just feel like you're in training to this higher vibrational space. You might feel like you're at home when you walk into a sanctuary or into a group space, if it's a spiritual retreat, or whatever it may be, so that together you can hold space for the planet and for each other. And the last thing was kind of a quirky thing, to set the timer or an alarm so you can practice taking a moment out of your day, taking a breath, and stop doing anything. Just be in that moment. Breathe. It doesn't have to be for more than a few moments. It doesn't have to be for minutes. But at least take that moment and breathe and bring yourself back into that beingness. And allow the lighter, brighter feeling to come into you just for those few moments, and then carry on with your day and see how much shift that makes. Don't feel bad if you aren't a warrior making changes on the planet and fighting for change. That may not be your purpose or reason for being here right now. Many lightworkers, they're here to hold the space, to help the shift, to move it along. Mine is to hold the light for the planet while it makes its shift, and hold the space without judgment for other people who need right now to go through certain struggles and to feel through what's happening with them. Appreciate them for being in the space they're in. Now, if you're in the same place that I am, just shine your light and hold that space. Stay neutral, without judgment, without fear or worry. It's a true gift for others and for the planet.
Thank you for listening to Connect to Joy. If you love the show, make sure you rate, review, and share this podcast. And subscribe so you never miss an episode. Contact the host, Carol DeChaine, with questions and comments, ideas for future episodes, or if you would like to become a guest. And remember, transformation is a journey, and not an end destination. So be kind to yourself, because you are already enough to have the joyful, limitless life that you desire.